Hello Year 3, welcome back to Tuesday's Maths. Today we are continuing with time and our learning objective for today is to know how to tell the time using 24-hour notation and to use analog time and 24-hour notation interchangeably. Now that's quite a wordy learning objective, but it basically means that we are going to be looking at the time on a 24-hour clock and how to change between this and the 12-hour clock. So to start off with, our anchor task has this flight departure board here, and the questions, what time is it now, and what time is the flight to Bangkok? Okay, so looking at this anchor task, to find out what time it is now, I'm going to have a look at the watch, and this confirms the time it is now. And the time for the flight to Bangkok, I'm going to use the departures board and go down to the destination, find Bangkok, and go along to the time to retrieve that. There is also a challenge there for you to find out what times the other flights are departing. Now, we've written these times down by looking at the watch and the departure board, but they look a little bit different to the times that we recognise on our 12-hour clock. And this is because they are from the 24-hour clock. And the 24-hour clock is just another way of measuring time based on the full 24 hours of the day rather than a 12-hour clock which has been split into 12 hours twice. And that means on a 24-hour clock we would get times that look like this. Now what we need to know is what these numbers represent or are the same as on a 12-hour clock, and there is a way to work this out which I'm going to show you next. So I'm actually going to use the 16 from here in the next slide. So our first one is how can we convert time on a 24-hour clock to a 12-hour clock? Now what we have to do to convert this is we have to subtract 12. So remembering that I said I was going to take the 16 from the previous screen and we're going to subtract the 12. Now I'm going to subtract using the column method, but you can choose another method that you are confident and happy to use. We use number lines in schools. We do use counters on the base 10, and hopefully you have something at home that represents them, or you could draw them. It's completely up to you. So I am going to also add in my tens and ones column or headings just to help me out. So I'm always going to start with the ones, and I'm going to do 6 take away 2, which I know is 4. And then I've got 1 take away 1, but we know it's not actually 1, they're tens. So 10 take away 10 is 0. So my answer for this one is 4. And we will come back to this, but for now, I'm going to leave it just like that. Now, if we have to subtract to convert the time on a 24-hour clock to a 12-hour clock, what do you think we might need to do to convert the time on a 12-hour clock to a 24-hour clock? We are going to add. We are going to do the inverse operation, and that is adding. So I am taking 3 and I'm going to add 12. And again, I'm sticking with my column method to do this. So to start off with, 3 add 2, I know some of my number bonds, so I know that 3 add 2 is 5. And then I've got 0, take away 10 is still 10 because I haven't taken anything away. So my answer for here is 15. Now, I said I was going to come back to the answers. So what this means is that 16 on a 24-hour clock is the same as 4 p.m. on a 12-hour clock. And 3 p.m. on a 12-hour clock is the same as 15 on a 24-hour clock. Now, the PM is important because on a 24-hour clock, the AM times remain the same. We don't need to convert them. So I know that this is 3 PM, not 3 AM. So that is how we convert the time on a 24-hour clock to 12 hours, to a 12-hour clock, sorry, and then how we convert the time on a 12-hour clock to 24 hours. So what I would like you to do, now that we have a method on how to convert or interchange between them, I would like you to have a go at converting these. Okay, so these are the conversions of these times. So 15:15 is the same as 3:15 PM, and 5:12 PM is the same as 17:12, and then 11:20 is still 11:20. Remember that on a 24-hour clock, we don't have to convert the AM times. Now, with this all in mind, your job or your activity today is to convert the times or interchange them from a 24-hour clock and a 12-hour clock, and then to write them in words. So the top line has been done for you. So 16:10 is the same as 4:10 PM, and in words that is 10 minutes past 4. So the first one is done for you. Pause the video here so you can complete the rest of the table. So here is the rest of the table. Have you converted or interchanged the times correctly? I'm sure you all have. Now, moving on to today's challenge. So it says the board shows the times of trains arriving and leaving the train station. So this is our board here. And then it also says that Ron's watch shows the time he arrives at the station. And which train could he be catching? Explain how you know. So using the train timetable and Ron's watch, can you work out what trains he could be catching? Don't forget to send any of your work into the Year 3 email.